timeless, untarnished things.
Yeah. Okay. Hi. Good evening. It is January 6th, about 7:30 p.m. And
To all those who celebrate.
To all those who celebrate. Ruth and I are going to go live for a little bit. And we got feedback from our last live that maybe Ruth should sit closer to the camera and I should sit farther back. So that's what we're doing.
So I can be louder.
So you can be louder. Because I'm just naturally loud and you're not super much. We had a couple of things we thought we would discuss and maybe stay on for 30 to 45 minutes. But we got a little bit sidetracked as we were loading up this live. We were discussing the TikTok discourse about Nekked Moms and whether you had a naked mom or whether that is, what would you say the TikTok discourse is? Like, how would you define it as of this moment?
Oh, I haven't seen the latest edition of it, but some edition of this discourse pops up like multiple times a year.
Mm-hmm.
But like, is it bad?
Are you a bad parent
if
you're
a naked mom? People who didn't have them like being shocked, and people who had them being like sharing their feelings.
Mm-hmm. And what are your feelings as a 23-year-old adult who had a naked mom?
We're all naked under our clothes. I mean, naked, or whatever you're supposed to say on TikTok. I don't know. I don't think it matters.
I think some of the conversations that are happening on TikTok about it are actually like pretty useful, like pretty helpful, because I think it, I agree with the creators who say it really boils down to misogyny, right? The like shaming of women's bodies. Women's bodies should be hidden even from their children.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, the whole reason that upper female nudity is considered scandalous is misogyny. Mm-hmm. There's nothing, what words are you allowed to say? Sexual about female upper nudity. Those are for feeding babies, but it's a very, at least in American culture, they've been highly stigmatized and criminalized in some instances.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it definitely comes back to it. I think, I grew up in a household where I saw my mom naked all the time, but never ever my dad. But I remember growing up when we lived in Tucson, so I was like 5, 6, 7. Our neighbors, they were like real hippies, right? Like real hippies. And they had 3 daughters that were about my age. And like both of their parents were naked like all the time, and it was no big deal, right? They just had a culture like in their household of nudity was no big deal. And I didn't really find out till much older that I think a lot of families are like that. But in my family growing up, like I saw grandma naked all the time, but I never once saw grandpa naked. And then in our household, like I there's 4 of you guys, and I was always breastfeeding. Like I always had my tits out, sorry. But like, cause you're just like, I was perennially breastfeeding for like 12 straight years. So then nudity just becomes no big deal.
You were breastfeeding until I was like 12.
Yeah. Not you until you were 12.
No,
your youngest brother. Yeah. Exactly. So, yeah. What a time to enter the live. Yeah, sorry. We're talking about the naked mom discourse on TikTok and whether you're like traumatizing your children if they see you naked. I think it's just like normalizing like acceptable human bodies, and it's no big deal. And it's only like seeing your mother naked is something that's very normal in a lot of other cultures, especially as you're saying, like from the waist up.
Yeah, but it's a cultural thing. And a lot of cultures, women don't even wear shirts.
That's right. Yeah. Okay, I didn't mean for us to get off on the tangent. We actually did have subjects. Again, if there's anything that you want us to talk about, we're happy to do it. Oh, this comment here, bodies are beautiful. Yeah, I think that there's part of that of like normalizing for your children, body acceptance. I have to say in my household growing up, like my mother, my entire life never said a negative thing about her own body. And I think that was really good for me, right? I grew up in a household where my dad was constantly criticizing his own body. And I think that's sort of that like product of German parents, and like it's all about reducing, right? My grandma was always reducing, always restricting, always trying to like control your body, and my dad very much was reflective of that, but my mother was not. She never criticized her own appearance. She never said a negative thing about herself. Even if her weight went up and down, she really modeled body positivity for me, and non-judgment, and I think that was really good. Yeah. So the more comments about breastfeeding, I think too, in American culture, most Americans have not really seen breastfeeding and have not grown up with it normalized. If they have, it's like your kid's under like 14 blankets, right? And that contributes a lot, I think, to reduce breastfeeding success. I used to do breastfeeding counseling at WIC, and like when you grow up in a culture where breastfeeding is not normalized and most people don't witness it, you don't see like what normal positioning is, and you don't, it suddenly becomes a skill that you have to learn instead of something that you grew up with and you inherently like have absorbed what is normal and effective for breastfeeding. So yeah.
I guess it can be another way to like keep mothers out of the public eye too, if they want to, if they feel stigmatized to breastfeed in public.
That's a really good point. Hi in Lake Oswego. I think you make a really good point too. Yeah, it is a way to keep women out of the public sphere. And again, like reinforcing shame for women's bodies. So I think it's good to have those conversations on TikTok. I'm just surprised to see how many people are anxious to hypersexualize mothers in a way that's entirely not sexual, and in a way that is just reinforcing shame and misogyny. Even on an app where the people having that conversation are largely women, are largely mothers, right? It's that it's that internalized misogyny that comes up. So yeah, learning that it's not central when you're breastfeeding. Yeah, talking about like normalization of breastfeeding in the culture. I think too, in Portland we live somewhere where breastfeeding is very normalized, but in the United States, the average child is breastfed for less than 3 months, and a lot of places in the U.S. there's a very high rate of bottle feeding and like a stigmatizing of moms who breastfeed. So it's really culturally not, as much as we promote it and doctors say it's a good thing, it's not really normalized in the culture that much. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is in Portland, though. Yeah.
I think people also try to destigmatize and like desexualize nudity in Portland. I mean, you have the naked bike rides.
Oh yeah, the naked bike ride.
There's a lot of hippies here.
Yeah. I think that's a good thing, though, right? Like in Portland.
I love nudists. Shout out to nudists.
I think they like to be called naturists. Is that so? There's some difference. Anyway, okay.
Maybe that's something different.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, we're happy to talk about whatever you want. We had a subject that we were hoping to discuss, kind of be a little bit lighthearted. It's been a really heavy day. It's been a really heavy couple of days, I think, for a lot of people. And so, do you want to talk about the post that you wanted to talk about?
First, I want to share with everyone that I got my glasses prescription updated.
Okay, make sure you're loud enough. So we got feedback that you're not as loud as I am.
I got my glasses prescription updated and ordered new glasses from a website in China where they were $10 instead of $350 at the Kaiser Glasses store. And they sent me a glasses cleaning towel that says, "Happy Lunar New Year, you're the horse." I've just been carrying around all day. Oh, I dropped it. Anyway, I showed my mom this post the other day, and I thought it was very charming. We were discussing, hold on, I lost it.
If you can hear our boy poodle barking in the background, I think he has doggy dementia a little bit. Either that or he's going deaf while Ruth is looking for the post. He likes to stand at the front door and bark in the evenings, and I don't know if anybody else has an elderly dog and is going through this, but there's a lot of barking when there's nothing going on outside, and I think he's either losing his hearing or he's got some doggy dementia.
Old man brain.
Yeah. So sorry for the barking.
The post was, it's on Twitter, "Timeless, perfect, untarnished things, an incomplete list. Peanuts, The Muppets, Paddington Bear, Superman. Open to other suggestions. Please don't say Steven Universe or some shit."
So what would you consider perfect, timeless, untarnished things. That was the conversation that we thought we would have. So Ruth loves the peanuts. So you agreed with peanuts being on the list.
I do. I love peanuts.
You like Snoopy best,
I
yeah?
love Snoopy. Who doesn't like Snoopy, first of all? You guys act like this is novel. Everyone loves Snoopy.
I like Peppermint Patty a lot. So
Me too. Tumblr loves her. My friend just did fan art of Peppermint Patty as the guy from Disco Elysium. I thought that was pretty funny today.
She's like a little bit low-key a lesbian icon, I think. Yeah.
She is.
Yeah.
She is.
Yeah.
I also love the Muppets,
Schroeder,
especially like non-Muppet Muppets, like not Muppet Show Muppets, like Fraggle Rock or the Dark Crystal, Farscape, all the weird stuff.
Labyrinth. I think Labyrinth is perfect, timeless.
My room is kind of labyrinth themed. There's this person on TikTok who has a labyrinth themed roof with like lace pinned to the ceiling. I've been starting to do that.
That sounds like it'd be a real bitch to dust, but yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. Just shake
Sorry.
it. I don't know.
Okay, what else is perfect and timeless?
So my additions were Fraggle Rock, although that technically counts. I said Beatrix Potter, Queen the Band, Reading Rainbow.
I agree with that.
And Psych from 2006, the sitcom. I love Psych so much. On my birthday every year, I make people watch Psych, and that's the only thing that I ask for. You guys have to watch Psych.
We watched the Twin Peaks themed Psych episode for Ruth's birthday this year.
It's amazing. And you guys didn't believe me that it was the Twin Peaks actors.
It was all the cast. I had to go look them up.
Because usually I'm not very good at telling who people are.
So, you have a little bit of face blindness.
But I was right. They were all from Twin Peaks.
Last time I rewatched Twin Peaks was like 2020. Is that when everybody was rewatching it? And so I had forgotten.
People are always kind of rewatching it.
Okay, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I'm reading the comments. Tasha Tudor and Mr. Rogers 100,000,000% agree. I am a huge Tasha Tudor stan. I think she was probably like maybe a little bit problematic as a parent, like a little controversial as a parent, but I still really love Tasha Tudor.
Moment.
And everything about Tasha Tudor's art and her kind of anachronistic lifestyle, I'm super into it. And we used to read Corkyville Christmas, which is weird. It's a really, really weird book. And A Doll's Christmas, that's my favorite. Doll's
Her
Christmas.
and Beatrix Potter are like the OG cottagecore furries.
Yeah. I think Mr. Rogers definitely is.
I'm a real big fan of like low stimulation kids shows. Maybe
Like
this
what?
is another one of my boomer moments, but like so much of what, like, I mean, my brothers, they're not super young now, but like my friends' younger siblings, so much of what they watch on their iPad baby iPads is like Elsagate, and then it's all downhill from there. It's just like absolute mind-rotting, seizure-inducing slop. Yeah. Skibbity Toilet, yeah. That's also, higher on the list of quality. At least someone actually made that.
What are things that you watched when you were a kid? Because we haven't had TV since you were really little. What are things that you watched, though?
We had a TV.
We had a little TV. It was
approximately 9 months when I was like 8. And it was a tiny TV, and we watched...
And it had a DVD player.
It had a DVD player, but we used it for exactly 2 things. One, In Between the Lions on PBS.
That's timeless. Yeah.
In Between the Lions, and then on the DVD we would watch the live-action Robin Hood from 2004.
Which is terrible.
It is. I don't know why we watched it.
Megan Follows Anne of Green Gables. I 1,000,000% agree. I watched that. So I grew up in a household where we were allowed 1 hour of TV a week, and it had to be PBS. And the exception was Wonderworks, or like sometimes Nature and Nova. Like sometimes I could watch a Nature and a Nova. But when Wonderworks had Anne of Green Gables, my dad recorded it on VCR, and I was allowed to watch that a lot. And it's just so, oh God, it's so good. My kids don't love it, but I love it.
A lot of Gen Zers like the new Netflix show, but it's not as good.
I won't watch it.
It's, to me, it's like the newer Pride and Prejudice versus the older one.
Katie says Wishbone. I didn't watch Wishbone. I'm too old for it, but you guys might be too young. I don't know that you ever watched Wishbone. I think that's a live action PBS dog investigator show, maybe. Wonder Woman, the Bionic Woman, and He-Man. I loved He-Man and She-Ra when I was little.
My exposure to comics when I was little was I would just go to the library, the local library comics section, and just read whatever they had. So I've never read anything in order. I've only read things entirely out of order. So I've read a lot of comics, but my lore understanding is not very
You've
good.
read a lot of Calvin and Hobbes. We have a ton of Calvin
That's
and Hobbes
true.
and Foxtrot.
I basically have every Calvin and Hobbes book. I think there's like one that I don't have. And I've read basically every 70s and 80s Garfield.
What do you think? What else do you think is timeless? I'm not a big Paddington Bear fan. When it said Paddington Bear, I think
No, yeah. Was that on the list?
it was on their list. You said you could tell that they were from the UK because they listed Paddington Bear.
Oh yeah, it was a bit of a sneak, like bro tried to sneak in Wisconsin moment. Well, I mean, a lot of people have nostalgia for it. I have a friend who loves Paddington Bear, and whenever I open art requests, asks me to draw Paddington Bear. But I kind of think it doesn't quite fit into this list because it doesn't have the same charm. Like, there's kind of an inherent humor and charm to Snoopy, and Paddington is just kind of... I put it more in the category of, like, Miffy. Like, you know, cute to look at, but not much substance.
What do you think about Wallace and Gromit and Shaun the Sheep? Do you think? I think those fit. I think Wallace and Gromit definitely fits.
I think so too. I think they're very memorable. We did watch Wallace and Gromit when I was little. We would watch sometimes things on a laptop that we got from the library, even though we didn't have a TV. So
Chicken Run.
I actually have that. That was like the only CD we had when I was little. Was
DVD,
Chicken Run.
yeah.
DVD. Scooby-Doo is classic. Fun fact, Mom's never seen Scooby-Doo.
I've never seen Scooby-Doo.
I have seen a lot of Scooby-Doo as an adult, but I guess you haven't. I love Scooby-Doo, and I love live-action Scooby-Doo.
I've never seen it.
It's like, honestly, I like it more than the cartoons. It's really funny. We would watch it. Well, that was another way I was exposed to TV was the Gleaners babysitting area. I would watch like 30 minutes of a movie, but they only had so many movies, so I basically have seen all the movies there.
People don't know what Gleaners is. Do you want to tell them, or do you want me to explain it?
That's actually where I met the Wallace and Gromit animators, because they pay animators so well that they shop at Gleaners. Gleaners is a non-profit that helps low-income families get access to gleaned groceries that stores and restaurants would otherwise be throwing away. Hi, Trish. So food that's still edible. There's lots of programs like it. It's basically like food bank food, or like, you know, food that has not, well, sometimes it is expired, but is still edible in most cases, but is being thrown away. So in exchange for volunteer hours, you get free food.
And, well, we had to pay dues too. So right, like, so it's for low-income families who, at the time that we participated, you're sort of falling in what they call the hungry gap, where you aren't, like, on TANF, and at the time, your choices were, if you didn't qualify for SNAP, or our family did qualify for SNAP, but we chose not to take it, which is like a whole other, whatever, we can get into that conversation later. If you're still struggling to pay your bills, you could volunteer at this organization and then pay monthly dues, and in exchange you could grocery shop there once a week. And it was just a big warehouse with a big walk-in freezer and a big refrigerator case, and there would be, like, you know, things that were dropped and dented, or like yogurt that was about to expire. If you hear my husband coughing, y'all, he's really sick, so send good thoughts. And or like farmers would donate produce, and you could go and shop there, or like There was one year that a bunch of us went and volunteered and picked pears out in Hood River. So in Oregon, we grow a lot of pears. And the pollination partner for like Anjou and Camise pears is the Bartlett. But the Bartlett commands a much lower price at market. So they need the Bartlett to be a pollination partner for these more expensive varieties of pears. But then they lose money if they hire people to pick them and sell them, right? So they just leave them on the crop. They leave them on the tree and let them basically rot. Or they allow gleaners groups to come and pick the pears for free, and then they get a little the farmer gets a tax write-off. So one year I went and picked pears in an orchard all day with a bunch of other people, thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds of pears that otherwise would have rotted on the tree because the farmer would have had to sell them at a loss. And then those went back to the warehouse, and it was basically like you took home 100 pounds of pears. And then I was canning for like 3 straight days. So, yeah.
Part of the agreement is that you do volunteer hours. So a lot of what I would do when I did my volunteer hours is like unpacking spoiled fruits and vegetables so that they can be sent to livestock. So another thing, like if there's a bunch of expired cucumbers but they're wrapped in plastic and you need like 100 people to peel them from the plastic before you can feed them to livestock, they would just get thrown out. But because we held all these volunteer hours and we couldn't eat the cucumbers anymore, we took as many as we could before they went rotten, we could then like give some pigs a treat.
So 2 questions. Trish says you volunteered your property at some point. Yeah, we ran a gardening program for this organization for many years on my property. So I had volunteers come here twice, sometimes 3 times a week to grow and harvest fresh organic produce to take in. And then we also taught classes. So I taught urban poultry, beekeeping, urban orcharding. We'd also have plant starts, things like that would go in. So that was part of my volunteer hours, was running the gardening program. Someone in the questions, I'm sorry I missed it and I can't reach to scroll back, said, are y'all in the U.S. your aesthetic is different? I don't know if you mean like the way that we're dressed or our house. Yeah, we're in Portland, Oregon. But my house looks like Bavaria exploded because it's mostly full of stuff I've inherited from my parents. So.
And we put in wainscoting on purpose.
Yeah. I have yet to do the crown molding in this room. I meant to do it 15 years ago and then I got busy. So, yeah.
We're not a fan of millennial gray.
We're not a fan of millennial gray, right?
Or Mormon windowsills.
Yeah. I like maximalism and lots of color and lots of busy stuff on the walls. But
I couldn't tell.
But we went to Gleaners for many, many years and volunteered there for a long time, and that helped us be able to pay off medical and dental debt, helped us be able to like afford to live in Portland. And then as over time we became more financially stable, then we exited the program.
We really needed it because I don't know if you know this, but young boys eat an obscene amount of food, especially my little brother, who is 6'7", and he's 17. Yeah. But even when he was like 12, he was 6'1".
Yeah, he had an insane amount of food. Yeah. I wish more Americans were as loving and kind and wise as you. Oh gosh, I thank you. I think I'm not always that kind, but yeah.
I think there's probably an equal proportionate amount of kind people in most countries. But
that's a really thoughtful comment.
Sometimes
I think that's true.
I think the not so kind groups are allowed in different ways, and so some countries get unfairly stereotyped in different ways. Like, for example,
that's a really good observation. Sorry, go ahead.
I think Canada and America have the exact same type of people, basically in every way. But if you look at how they're stereotyped in other countries, they're stereotyped having extremely different temperaments. When, like, you talk to those people, they're basically the same. Mm-hmm. Part of that is because, and Canadians have told me this directly, they'll pretend to be American in other countries, so their bad behavior is then put upon us. But I think that's just how I feel.
I think also, too, like, if you look at American subculture, right, so Ruth's girlfriend is from New York, and then they're much more direct and assertive. They're not less kind than we are in Portland. They're just less passive aggressive than Portlanders are.
Yeah.
And I think then it gets misconstrued because there's this subcultural difference. Are we communists? No.
I am.
No. No, I'm not a communist.
As a country, no.
Are we still telling Spanish people they're safe in America? I wouldn't recommend that anybody from another country come and visit the United States or try and immigrate. I think it's probably impossible for anybody except for like, I was going to swear, South Africans to come to the United States. But I think I wouldn't recommend that anybody come here on vacation. And I actually think that it's a show of solidarity with Americans to not be an international tourist here right now. And not to support.
I wouldn't even risk being a tourist.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I wouldn't come here. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what country you're from. I wouldn't come to the U.S. right now, which sucks.
Aloha from Hawaii, and shout out to Hawaiian independence.
No, that's not what I did, Jay. But that's okay. We're just gonna go ahead and dump Jay out of the chat. Yeah, do not come here. I agree. It's not a good time to come here.
Here, I got it.
Okay, thanks, Ruth.
Oh
yeah. You click it right here. Sorry, we're still figuring out how to do lives.
You're bad at clicking buttons.
I am bad at clicking buttons.
You tap it and then go to the side.
I know, I need to get mods too.
And speaking of Wallace and Gromit, while we were working at Gleaners. So I don't know if you know, but Portland, Oregon is the stop motion capital of the world. So people from other stop motion projects worldwide will often visit here.
Is that mostly because Studio Leica's here? What do you know why that is? What do you think drives it here?
That's a good question. I don't know why it is. It's definitely not just Studio Leica. There are many, many, many other studios, and I know there was a big animation presence before Studio Leica. I mean, I'm sure they have largely contributed to it, but I think if I had to guess, I think it's because of the culture in a lot of ways. Like, Portland is very, like, indie art focused in a lot of ways, and, like, there's just... I don't know, a lot of alternative... Sorry,
I didn't mean to put you on the spot and be like, explain it. I just don't know if you have any perspective.
I just think there's a lot of alternative artists that come here to try and make a living. I don't think it's as easy now as it was maybe in the 90s, but it's already kind of an established thing. Like the show Oregon Art Beat talks a lot, mostly about Portland artists. I've been watching that for since I was little. But yeah, so Portland, Oregon is the stop motion capital of the world. There's the most stop motion animation studios here. So because of that, we would sometimes meet Wallace and Gromit animators when they would come to Portland, and they would shop at Gleaners, and they would be doing their volunteer hours. And I just thought to myself, wow, this is really a reflection of how well the world treats animators. Is that, like, arguably the most famous stop-motion franchise ever has to the people who make it have to shop at Gleaners, basically the food bank.
Do you mind blocking John, who feels the need to repeatedly ask if you're 18 when you're obviously...
I'm 37.
You're 37 years old, yeah. Thanks, Ruth. Well, I think Portland has this sort of mystique for people who don't think that we're just like some weird pinko city. But there's also this, I think, false conception that it's a lot more affordable here than it is in Seattle or San Francisco. And Portland is really not.
Yeah.
25 years ago, maybe it was a little bit more, but it's really not affordable. So I think that there are a lot of people here who need assistance. We have a high income tax. We have high city, state, and local taxes that fund a lot of really important programs. But we also have a really high cost of living and high rent and high food prices. And a housing shortage that makes that worse. So I can understand why artists might have a hard time living here, even if culturally, yeah.
Well, I was talking with one of my cousins about this, Erin, who she lives in New York, and was saying like there is no such thing really as like a super affordable place to live. Like maybe in the 90s people would think of Portland as somewhere where you could like go and be a starving artist. But and she was like, when I first moved to New York, it was considered like one of the more expensive cities to live, but now it's kind of like everywhere is like that. I mean, obviously places like New York are a little step above that, but there isn't really a place you can be a starving artist anywhere now.
Do you think that there's a lot of tax fraud? There's not a lot of tax fraud in Portland. Everybody wants to live in Portland. I actually just saw a report that said we're the number one city that people want to relocate to in 2025. We were the number one city where people are trying to flee from other places and move here because it's safer here than elsewhere. Yeah. Someone said, I'm in the Bay and I noticed our sales tax is, holy crap, 10.25%. We don't have sales tax in Oregon. So that definitely, I think is a good thing because sales tax impacts lower income people more heavily, right? It is inherently pretty regressive. We used to have a thing here in Portland where you could use your Oregon driver's license and shop in Washington State and be exempt from sales tax in Washington State, but that's no longer a thing. We do have people that come down here from Washington to shop at Costco, so they don't have to pay sales tax.
Yeah. They've really got a sweet deal. You live right on the border.
Yeah. Anything else that was, what was the description on this tweet again? I don't know the code to your phone.
10K viewers. I think it might.
That's crazy.
I think it's actually 10K likes. Not to discredit us as famous influencers, but I know you can like more than once. There's probably someone like going tap, 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 tap.
Yeah. Oregon has no sales tax, but our income tax is at least 9%. The higher brackets are higher than that. Portland also has the preschool for all tax, which we just passed, which is if you make over a certain income, I think it's 2% of your income you pay to fund universal preschool. And then we also have the fair housing tax, which helps supplement housing for people on limited incomes. And then we also have the, if you're a business owner, the TriMet tax, which subsidizes public transit. And we're huge fans of riding public transit. So as a LLC, I have to pay the TriMet tax. I'm super happy to do that because I want everybody to be able to access public transit.
If we could just get a high-speed rail system.
You get 2 of the 3 Fs, financial, freedom, or fulfillment. Yeah, I think in Portland, well, in the United States, freedom is questionable, I think, for all of us right now. And I don't think that we have access to any of those 3 Fs in the United States for most people.
I was gonna say financial in Portland is also questionable. Have you seen the cost of living?
Taxes that actually benefit people sounds fine to me. Absolutely. I'm in no way opposed to paying taxes. I want my taxes to help
We're
fund.
not Connor Roy.
We're not Connor Roy. Yeah, we want our taxes to help fund necessary services and programs in our community, right? Like our taxes should increase our quality of life and provide safety nets and make us more stable. Yeah, so I have no problem paying taxes at all. I do have a problem paying taxes to the military industrial complex and, the American Gestapo. Yeah. Oh, thank you for your post to Europe, etc. today. Yeah, I hope I didn't piss too many people off. I was a little frustrated. And I got lots of really kind comments from people who are not inside the United States. I was trying to say in that video, I think for those of us in the US, it's not just that people outside the United States don't hear everything that's going on here because they get this really filtered version through our corporate media. It's also that we don't really get an accurate picture of what's going on elsewhere in the world. That's why there was this big trend for people to search World Talk or Global Talk to see what people in other countries are experiencing on TikTok. And so I think we often don't get a good perception of what people outside the US feel about us and the ways that they're kind of rooting for us. It's all of that trying to censor an accurate picture of what's going on here, and then also trying to make us here feel really isolated and friendless and alone. So lots of really lovely comments from people outside the US that just felt really awesome today. Yeah, really encouraging.
I see what this person means now. They meant in regards to jobs, like a starving artist gets to be free and fulfilled but broke. I see
that's a good point.
now.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I think much like the like you can choose 2 out of 3 for school, good grades, social life, and enough sleep. I think it's a oversimplification. It's probably more like there's like 20 different aspects that you're trying to juggle, and some people have like 4 and some people have none. Okay. But shout out to the artists that make it work. Yeah. I ended up not going to art school.
Yeah.
Even though I think stop motion is really cool, and I took stop motion classes when I was a teenager. Wasn't really viable for me anyway.
Honora says, I got a degree in music. When I went to college, my parents said I'm very, very lucky in that my parents paid for my college. I had to major in a hard science, or they weren't going to pay for my college. So I have no problem with my kids majoring in whatever they want to major in. Ruth chose a science field. My other kids are majoring in poli-sci and history. And then George is 14, so he doesn't know yet.
Ended up in quality engineering for Boeing drones. Watch out.
The eldest is pursuing theater design. That's awesome. One of my friends from college double majored, I think in physics and theater, and ended up being somebody who designs and produces shows in Hollywood now. So, yeah.
Shout out, dude.
Somebody left a comment about Knitting Cult Lady, and I'm so sorry I can't scroll back and find out what they said. So if you repeat it, that would be awesome. Knitting Cult Lady is doing a knitting protest in March, I think, in DC. She asked if I would come out to DC, but Portland to DC is like all the way across the country, and I probably can't. I can't, but that would be awesome if I think the knitting protest will be awesome, but I wonder if we could reconstitute and try and do like a Portland version at the same time that they're doing it in DC, do a knitting protest somewhere here at the ICE building or what have you. Yeah.
I produce like one knitted finished item every 10 years, so.
Somebody earlier asked me what I'm making. I'm making a sweater vest. I don't know. This is the back of it. And then it's called Button Box. It's got pockets, so I don't know if you can see. Hang on. The pockets aren't sewn in yet, but it'll have pockets here. You make a little pocket flap in the back, and then you sew it down. So I'm always freezing cold, so I can never have enough wool knitted things. Yeah.
That's true. It's true what sailors say.
Someone said they want to go, but we'll be post-op and won't able to. Yeah, I think there's a lot of people. That's one of the things I think about resistance work is that there are times when you can step into it and times when you can't. There were people at the last No Kings protest who are messaging me ahead of time being like, I'm having a knee replacement, or I have to care for my elderly mother, and like, this is not the time that I can come and do that. And I'm like, that's okay. Somebody else will come this time and you'll get to pick it up next time, right? It's like that baton that we're handing off, and it's okay. I think for any of us to give ourselves permission to dip on certain events when we're sick or when we have other life pressures or we have to work or what have you. For my kids, they miss a lot of protest-based events because they're college students. And I think it's really important for kids to prioritize their college education, because education is resistance. Getting your degree when they're trying to destroy education, right, I think is really, really important. I think that's more important than going to a rally or a march. Yeah.
Trump loves the uneducated.
He does.
He said so.
Yeah. Yeah.
Should we, in case there's new people, read our original
read your prompt
tweet again?
Yeah, read your prompt.
The original point of this live was there was a tweet that said, a list of perfect, timeless, untarnished things: Peanuts, The Muppets, Paddington Bear, and Superman. And we were trying to add on to things that have that.
Like Mr. Rogers and Anne of Green Gables. And
people had some good suggestions.
Labyrinth. I think Labyrinth is up there.
Anything Jim Henson, really. Dark Crystal. Moomin, people said. I agree.
I think Moomin, definitely.
I love Moomin. I would love to visit Finland and go to the Moomin
I've been to
Museum.
Finland. Shout out to the Finns. I would go when I went to Finland. I was 21, and I was very tall and thin, and my hair was down to my waist, and I always have kind of dressed weird. Everybody thought I was Finnish when I went to Finland. Everybody spoke to me in Finnish.
I'm Finnish?
I don't know. I was like real kind of willowy with really long hair.
Do they speak German in Finland?
Everybody that I encountered in Finland spoke at least 3 languages. You would go to the department store. They have this, what is it, Stockman's? Is that the name of the department store? And like a regular clerk would have their name tag, and they would have the flags of all of the countries to list every language they spoke. And like people work in the checkout line at the department store would speak like 7 languages. It blew me away when most Americans only speak 1.
We do have, I don't want to dox her, a Finnish neighbor who speaks German that I
think a lot of Finns speak German and Russian as well as Finnish, yeah.
It's like a distinct dialect, though. Like, I learned German from, my teacher was from Romania, and so I sort of learned Romanian accent. And then I had another teacher who was from America but lived in Germany and learned it in in Germany. And she had, a distinct dialect and a distinct accent, and they spelled things different. But when I talked to our Finnish neighbor, she, speaks a distinct way.
That's like how I took Mandarin in college, but my professor was a native Cantonese speaker and learned Mandarin later, and he definitely had an accent, which when you would talk with other native Mandarin speakers, they'd be like, oh, you clearly learned from somebody who took Cantonese.
Little Bear and Franklin the Turtle. Oh, that's another thing I would watch at Gleaners. Did you ever watch that, Mom?
Franklin the Turtle? I've never seen it.
It's another, low stimulation kids show. Like Kipper. I actually still watch Kipper now as an adult. He's on YouTube. Love that guy.
What do you mean by low stimulation kids show? Just like a slow pace to it?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of animated shows that have a philosophy of not being overstimulating, so not trying to get kids wound up and trying to calm them down and be slow so that they can actually listen to the words. I find a lot of them are British kids animated shows. I've just seen people referring to that genre online when they're trying to stay away from AI generated cat pregnancy videos and Elsa Gate rainbow slime YouTube videos that a lot of toddlers are watching on their iPads. And things like Mr. Rogers and Kipper and Moomin and such. Moomin's a little crazy though.
I'm sorry, I have terrible eyes. Nana, I think, said, I'm surprised you didn't know about the topic of low stimulation. Well, it's because we didn't have TV, and my kids didn't watch very much in the way of TV shows. So Sesame Street and Mr. Rogers and...
Oh, this person said anti-Cocomelon. I think that's the main example I think people use is the high stimulation shows are like Cocomelon, trying to... One, be produced really fast, you make 20 episodes a day so that 1 million iPad toddlers can generate views. But they also because they're often on social media and you have to click on them, they try to be as flashy and loud and rainbowy and skibbity toilety as possible so that they will be clicked on the most, get the attention out of the sea of slop. So it just encourages lower quality things that can be produced really fast, and then the flashiest, most seizure inducing, craziest Cocomelon stuff so that it will be noticed more by a baby.
So do you think that is sort of like how for my generation as a kid in the 80s and 90s that so many of the children's programming shows were really just advertisements for action figures and toys, and there was no educational quality to it whatsoever because it really wasn't about serving the child, right? The child was the product that was being sold to the advertiser. Do you feel that's similar with high stimulation shows? They're not really designed for children's benefit.
Yeah, I think part of it now is that the kind of stuff that young kids are watching on the internet is so much worse than just a Transformers show, that we're looking back on that as like nostalgic, idealized time, because it was still a show that people were putting effort into making instead of AI generated slop.
Okay, so
but there definitely was there definitely is distinct differences between before television was all just trying to sell toys to kids, and that's what, and I've brought this up in another live stream before, that's what one of my favorite series, Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared, is about the commercialization of children's shows and how these low stimulating puppet shows turned into trying to exploit kids for money.
Okay, so as somebody in your mid-20s now who doesn't want to have kids but has listened to a lot of the discourse from your age group, because I've just seen a tiny little bit of it, what do you think about the pushback from Gen Z to be more low tech or to be no tech and to have more of an analog life, right? I see a lot of people in Gen Z saying, I want to get rid of my smartphone. I want to have just a flip phone. I want to, like this sort of reaction to the high intensity, high AI, high tech, everything. What do you think? What do you think about that? Or if you were to be a parent, I know you don't want to have kids, but if you were to be a parent, how would you raise your children differently than the culture, or maybe even differently than you were raised?
I think even since I was young, in many ways I love the internet and I love technology and using it, but I also kind of resent how obligated we are. Like, I use computers every single day, but that's not necessarily because I want to. It's because we have to. I didn't have a phone until like basically the pandemic. And like, just in many ways, I kind of annoyingly yearn for like the 90s and just how much we're obligated to use all this technology that I kind of feel like is microwaving my brain a little bit. So I really do understand why a lot of people are trying to switch more to analog lifestyle. Another factor of that is that digital purchasing, digital owning, renting is not actual ownership. When buying isn't owning, I guess the other half of that is stealing isn't stealing. But when you're renting something, or you have a paid subscription service, or you're buying a digital copy of something, that can be revoked. And so you're not actually owning it. So there's a large number of people my generation that are trying to switch to more physical media, that are burning their own CDs, that are, in some ways that does also contribute to consumerism, because then you see brands try and hop on this trend and be like, buy my thing just because it's physical media, or like, here's a flip phone, even though it has all of the things that an iPad and an iPhone has. It's just another thing you can buy and isn't actually less high tech.
Some people said, Trish said, I hate my subscription software, etc. Like, the point of the internet becomes an obligation and a chore, and then you can't enjoy the fun things about it or the good things about it when you're obligated to use it, or you feel like it's just ripping you off. I know for me, probably not relevant for everybody here, but I really thought that Ravelry was going to be a boon. It is in many ways, which is this like big, for people who aren't knitters, it's a big online platform for knitters and crocheters. And I thought, like all my patterns are going to be digitized, right? And I will have my online Ravelry library of all of the patterns that I want to use, and then I don't have to have them attached to my device. I can access them on any device. What I found over the last several months is that a number of patterns in my library have been removed offline, and they're just like, they become lost media essentially, right? And so I started printing out and keeping in a 3-ring binder a lot of my knitting patterns, because I'm like, if it only exists digitally, there's a chance that the platform could do away with it, or essentially I've rented it and it could just disappear.
Another
right?
huge thing. I don't watch a whole lot of movies or play a whole lot of games, but people who do talk a lot about lost media because of the digitization of things. A great example is the Disney Vault. When Disney has been switching to Disney Plus, where they have this artificial scarcity of only releasing things from the vault for a limited amount of time. And then when they make new movies and shows, and they only put them on Disney Plus for a short amount of time, they never make DVDs, or they never have a theatrical release, and then they never put them on any other, like, digital buying or digital subscription service.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of their new stuff, even though it's new, is lost media. There is nowhere that you can buy or own any of these, a lot of these new movies and shows legally. And this is also true a lot of their old media when they just never put them in the vault in the first place. There's now old Disney movies that there is nowhere you can buy it, physical or digital.
Mm-hmm.
And so oftentimes pirating becomes a form of archiving, because the only way that you can access this stuff is through pirating means.
That's a really interesting way to look at it. Pirating becomes the only form of archiving. That's a fascinating prospect. That's a really good point. Yeah.
This is way more common than you might think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fascinating. Interesting.
People are saying in the comments somewhere, this is a big thing in gaming, is that buying isn't owning me digitally.
Like all of the things I've let the boys buy on Steam, do they not really own them?
Yeah, like if Steam were, for whatever reason, I'm sure in their terms of service, they have somewhere they can just nuke all their stuff. If they, for whatever reason, made a vault, or if Steam stopped existing, like, it's not like they send you a physical, I don't play any video games, a physical CD of the game.
Except for Disco Elysium.
I've never played that either, but I want to. I wish it was a book. I've played 3 video games. Minecraft, a little bit of Skyrim, I don't know,
Wait,
2 video games.
No, what's the one you played that George was really into?
Oh, Animal Crossing.
Yeah. No. What's the other one that's like a storyline, and then, we played it at OMSI. Oh, Jesus. And you can finish it in a day. George has played it multiple times and finished it in a day.
Oh, Undertale?
Undertale.
Okay, yes. I didn't even count that on my brain because it's such a timeless classic. I love Undertale. So good, even I love it.
Oh no, girl.
Yeah. Shout out to One Piece. Wink.
You don't have any more homework tonight? Do you have homework?
Of course I do.
You got homework, yeah.
I have anything due tonight.
You don't have anything to do tonight? That's good. It's the first week of class, so...
I did drop one of my classes,
3 of
which
my
I never do.
3 of my college kids live at home, and then 1 goes away to school. So the first week at home is a lot of work for the ones that...
See, Trish knows what's up.
What'd she say?
One Piece flag is the way.
Oh, One Piece flag is the way, yeah. So it's a busy week because it's their first week of school and they're getting adjusted to new classes. And
I always have a Menti B the first week, but I vowed to not do it.
What is you're taking an ornithology, but it's not ornithology.
Systematics of birds.
Yeah.
And then conservation genetics.
The conservation genetics piece seems like it's going to be like...
I've had this professor before. I love her. She's great. She assigns an obscene amount of homework. No hate though. Last time I took her class, I did 2 all-nighters a week, every single week, or else I would have failed.
But you got an A.
But I got an A. But I love her, so it's worth it. I don't want to take it with another professor, but it's a lot of work. I did have to drop. I actually haven't done it yet because I emailed my professor first. I'm taking an upper level statistics class that does a lot of coding. I don't know anything about coding, so I have elected to not take it this term and to perhaps take a introductory coding class first. I want to succeed. I don't want to bullshit. homework in the age of AI, not practical anymore. I never used AI for any of my homework, and I never will. I've never even opened ChatGPT. The first time that I opened ChatGPT was yesterday when I downloaded Mega for my conservation genetics class to analyze genetics data, and when I tried to click the FAQ button, it sent me to ChatGPT.
You know, I don't know if anybody here follows Charlotte in France, but she had a really good post a couple of days ago that was about how like we could have used the technology of AI to make things better, but we're not.
We could have done a lot of things.
Well, that's what I said in her comments. I was like, well, that's the story of capitalism, right? Like how many innovations we've had that we could have used to reduce our workload. I'm going to sound like a permaculture person here. To reduce our workload and increase our yield, right? How many things we could have used to benefit us.
What's that Grimes quote?
What's the Grimes quote?
Oh, there's this Grimes meme where she goes, I have a proposition for the communists. And then she says, shouldn't you love generative AI because it can be used to like reduce forced labor because they won't use human forced labor, they'll just use AI, and like everyone clowned on her because that's not what corporations do. They're not gonna stop exploiting people.
Yeah, they just use it to...
Why would we use AI for the dangerous jobs that we can use exploited labor for when we can just use it to push all artists out of business?
Or like, why couldn't we use AI so that everybody could work like a 20-hour work week and we would have more leisure? Like, why couldn't we...
Well, I think first you're assuming that we can't do that already, which we can,
Yeah,
and that
AI
is necessary for that.
No, good point.
I don't even think AI would necessarily help with that. We could have done that from the beginning.
I agree.
Because there's countries that already do. Mm-hmm. But why would we do that? That's scary socialism.
It is scary socialism.
Working less?
We're not being
more healthcare? No. How could we?
I think a lot of Europeans on my comments sometimes get baffled at how much Americans derive their sense of self-worth from their employment and like being just so committed to your job, and working long hours is seen as virtuous and the path to success and prosperity. And other countries are like, this is weird that you don't have work-life balance. This is weird that your sense of self and like how you perceive your value in society is from your job and not your relationships with other people. Or yeah.
Trish says, I just want someone to invent the transporter. Can AI figure that out for me? Do you mean the teleporter? Because there's I don't know how many of you use Tumblr. There's a running bit on Tumblr of like when you as a person are an old person in the future and teleporters have been invented, and that you are like mimicking a boomer, having like boomer attitudes towards teleporters and being like, listen here, grandkids, I know that you're not really my grandkids because you use teleporters, so it vaporizes you and recreates a exact clone of you with your memories, but I don't hold it against you. But you all say that I'm just refusing to get with the times because I use these old-fashioned airplanes. Does anyone know what I'm talking about?
I have not seen that meme.
It's a running bit on Tumblr.
I'm sorry, I have not.
I would be like that. I'm never using a teleporter. If you get a job, maybe you could trade in your 1930 glasses. This is part of my aesthetic, okay? Listen, when I have my old glasses, people would say they're office siren glasses, when in fact they are Virgin programmer glasses, okay? I'm trying to be like Ben the programmer, because I don't program. These are more like...
Those are your German glasses.
So my German
look
glasses.
Aggressively German when you wear those.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think AI is to make intelligence cheap. For me, I think it's just the way that so much in capitalism is just an opportunity cost, how humans are so creative and innovative. We don't use it to actually make our lives better or to reduce our impact or to create more free time or give us more space for like art and leisure and relationships. It is really very much the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil, right? It's just,
well, this comment is assuming that AI is actually intelligent, which it isn't, and that, yeah. But it is trying to make a lot of things cheaper.
I keep getting ads on YouTube for AI, this AI company that is like, take our course, buy our software, and we'll teach you how to use AI for your business over the course of 30 days. And it's just a scammy app that charges you $69 a month or whatever. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting because when you look at the things it's telling you that you can develop to run your business with AI, it's like, I can't say it on live. It's like corn, right? It's like create AI corn, like make cat fuzzy weird cat videos, but the cat has 3 eyes and it's doing something that's defying the laws of physics. So I'm like, this is what everybody is supposed to be doing with AI to run their business. It just feels so entirely unsustainable. It feels completely useless, and they're trying to sell us a product and be like, this is important for your business and the future of your business and how you become able to retire at 35, but it doesn't do anything useful. There's like nothing that would make your business operate better or be more useful. So
the calculus class that I just took, our professor originally worked in business, and it was a business calculus class basically, and what she talked about a lot in AI was how AI is being used in business right now, and that it has been sold to all of these higher ups as a product that it is not yet, and that they are making all these big decisions based on all of this push for AI technology, being like, it can replace all these people, it can do all this so much more efficiently, and then they are firing these people and using these tools to replace them, and then quickly realizing that it cannot do all of these things, and they're scrambling to still function.
So someone in the comments said, sorry to interrupt you, respectfully, you don't use AI, I use it every day. I think there's a lot of industries that do use it, and I think AI is such a huge term that it's hard to say whether what you're using for your business is what your average college student is using, or what is being hawked to self-employeds, right? Like, use ChatGPT to write your website.
Well, part of how much they're pushing it really reminds me of how they push cryptocurrency, and they are really incentivized to make it seem like it is necessary to use it, and that like everyone else is already using it. You don't want to miss out on the next big thing. I don't know, I was just watching the Dan Olson video on cryptocurrency.
Yeah, making it seem like businesses have to adapt in order to keep up, have to purchase it in order to keep up. I think that's really true. Yeah.
A lot of these technologies, cryptocurrency, generative AI, NFTs,
I've decided we're going to get kicked off in 5 minutes.
The metaverse.
The metaverse has been a big disaster. Yeah.
Well, just a lot of them are marketed as you don't want to miss out on the internet. And that's how they sell their things.
Don't you feel that that's also the way that capitalism creates artificial scarcity and this sense of urgency when there isn't really one? Like, you got to get the market share. You got to have this quarterly profit that you're posting. And I mean, I can fall victim to that too. Like, oh, I have to keep up on my, I have to make so many videos a day in order to maintain my, the way that the algorithm is pushing me, right? If I take a break from posting on YouTube, then the algorithm won't push me as much. They want me to post consistently. The platform rewards you for consistent posting. And so it does create a sense of urgency and a sense of like, you have to use this software, you have to use this platform, and you have to go, or you're going to slip behind, right? Yeah.
Oh, people are asking why it's going to kick us off. Because we've been on for almost an hour.
I'm not sure if it's because I'm new on doing lives. I think I've done less than 10 of them, maybe. It only lets me do lives for an hour. Yeah. Do you remember where you were 5 years ago today?
I was reading Always Sunny in Philadelphia fanfiction, and came and told me there was an insurrection happening.
I was watching the MSNBC live stream on my laptop and knitting and being horrified 5 years ago. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Should we start a new live? Do we have 20 more minutes of things to say?
I think we might wrap it up. It's 8:30. Thank you to everybody who joined. Thanks for letting us take the time to get the hang of things.
List.
We didn't finish our list. We'll have to do another live tomorrow.
We'll do the next one.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. Trish was on the phone with me. That's right. Yeah. Well, it went on all day. Yeah. Yeah, thanks guys for being on with us. I really appreciate it. Yeah, my dog stopped barking, so he simmered down, hopefully for the evening. And I think I'm going to go knit and listen to my audiobook. Are you going to go do homework?
I think so. Okay. I have. By the way, all of this discourse of people saying STEM majors can't read and that they're functionally illiterate, I have like 200 pages of reading a week for one STEM class. So
For your genetics class?
my genetics class. Yeah. Every class is reading comprehension. Okay.
No wonder you want to do more lives, then you don't have to go read your homework. Thanks y'all for hanging out with us. We'll see you next time.